opinions expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of Shaw Cable Systems or of the station. Through our access policy, we provide the opportunity for community groups and individuals to express their points of view.
Well, I think you sliced that one a bit, Kenny.
Well, it's still in the middle of the winter, working on the game, getting ready for next spring.
Well, dude, this is great. We're down here at Yar Place with Ken Bradley talking about the new book, That's Out of Bounds. And Ken, of course, the author, just released it recently, and we thought it'd be a good idea to come down here, have Ken hitting a few balls, and talk a bit about some of the history. What a wonderful idea, a hard thing to do, Ken.
Well, it took a long time. I started back in
1907?
Wow. 2007. 5 years ago, somebody asked me a question, how old is the Hillcrest? And I said, well, I don't know, I'll try to find out. And I started by working in the library, started back in 1900 and looking through the files until I finally found something in 1906 that said anybody interested in joining or starting a golf club, meet at W.E. Seaborn Law Office, and that was the start of golf in Moose Jaw.
Well, that name has kind of come up in my world too. The 100th anniversary of the Moose Jaw Armories is coming up, and of course Ted Seaborn is grandson, and so I've been contacting him about this. He was obviously a very involved community member back in the early part of the century.
Yes, he was. He was into a number of different things. As a lawyer, he certainly had his pulse on what was happening in Moose Jaw. And at that time, Moose Jaw was a pretty vibrant community. They thought it was actually one of the largest centers in Saskatchewan. And you know, we're trying to get the capital to go to Moose Jaw, but it didn't happen.
Not yet. Anyway, Ken, so you wrote the book, and it's talked about the history, and we've got some mementos from back in time. Like you have the trophy from 1917, the President's Cup.
Yes, I recovered that at the Lynbrook a couple of years ago, looking around getting some information from the Lynbrook course. The President's Cup was the original club championship trophy for what was at that time called the Moose Jaw Golf Club, which started in 1913. At the current location, and that's what was the emphasis for the book. Actually, was the fact that this year it's going to be 100 years old on that location.
And it's nice that you had to have the book done in time. There was a little incentive to hit that point.
Yes, 5 years ago I thought I had lots of time, and I was scrambling all this fall to get the last editing done and get it to print just before Christmas.
Now you have another trophy that's really unique, like. I've heard, you know, everybody knows Tiger, and they know who Tiger is, and you know, and the Great White Shark, which is 3 words. There's a guy on this trophy named Sim, and his partner.
Yeah, Sim. I'm not too familiar with him. I didn't find much information on him other than his name appeared a couple of times in the draws. But the other fellow, his partner, was Jack Cuthbert, and he was a member of the club in the early teens. It actually was the club captain for a couple of years, but he won the Saskatchewan Amateur Championship 3 years in a row, 1917, 18, and 19, and went on to a major career. He moved to Manitoba in the 20s and won a number of club tournaments there and provincial championships there, then became a pro in 1930 and moved to Calgary. And I lost track. I couldn't find any information particularly on that as much, but certainly he had a full golf career.
And we've had a lot of golf courses in Moose Jaw, or there's of course what's the Hillcrest now, and it was the Moose Jaw Golf Club, the original one. Yes. There's the Lynbrook, and an interesting fact, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but people took great affection to that place, and Walter Mills from the famous performance family in Moose Jaw. His brother was a professional opera singer. His other brother was a cartoon writer. He did Hanna-Barbera and did Flintstones as a comedic. But Walter's middle name, because his house was at the base of the course, is Lindbrook, and he's Walter Lindbrook Mills.
Isn't that interesting? There's another fact that I've missed so far. I know there's definitely going to have to be a second edition somehow, but I'm not going to wait 100 years to do that. Somebody else will have to do that one.
What would you find is the most interesting thing that you found in all your searches, Ken?
Just the fact that we had a number of very good players back in the early 1900s that that have sort of been lost to history. We don't have a sports hall of fame in Moose Jaw yet, although we're working on that too. I don't know if you've had any thoughts on that, but I know that it's starting to work on that. One of the big facts was 1927. The first Moose Jaw held the provincial tournament, and it was the first year that they officially recognized the senior men's part of the tournament. And a gentleman by the name of General George S. Tuxford won the first event. And as you're well familiar with your military background, he is probably one of the most decorated
Saskatchewanians,
members of the Canadian Armed Forces in World War I. He went on to win 5 other provincial senior men's championships, and why I say that's so curious is that I have to brag a little bit, is that 2009 and 2010 I was the provincial senior men's champion, and then in 2011 Daryl Herchuk from our club was also the 2000 champion. So we've got the first ones and almost the last one. Neither one of us managed to win last year.
Yeah, but there's this year coming up too.
Yeah, well, yeah, we'll be both at it again this year. That's why I'm here hitting balls.
Well, and for sure, the fact that there hasn't been a lot of golf in Moose Jaw, people would think that's kind of odd in the barren prairies, but golfing, now, is Saskatchewan got the most amount of golf courses per capita?
Yes, we've got, I think, somewhere in the neighborhood of, I believe the number's 250 golf courses in Saskatchewan. Mind-boggling.
Yeah, in Canada, it's the province with the most per capita, because I guess people really enjoy that.
Right. Yeah, I would sure like to see more people enjoy it too. I think it's a fine game.
Now, when you were researching the book, what did you find was probably the hardest thing for you to get involved or get into?
Really, the old newspapers weren't laid out very well in times. They did have a sports page, but lots of times I'd have to cover the whole paper to find a particular article talking about golf. It wasn't highlighted early in the last century, but as we went on, it certainly was a little easier to find some things. And then there'd be certain periods where all of a sudden there's no information on golf hardly, and so now I had to go to Saskatoon or to Regina to try to draw out some of the information, particularly on the provincial tournaments that Moose Jaw may have been involved in, and Moose Jaw players might have been involved in.
And of course you had a little, I wouldn't say help, but you had a little guidance from a very good friend of yours, Gary Andrews, who's was a Moose Jaw guy for a while and taught here. And now he's off in Alberta somewhere teaching, right?
Right. Well, I think he's finally retired.
Sure.
He just moved from Lethbridge to Edmonton to be closer to his family in Edmonton. Gary and I go back a long way as teachers and as opposing coaches and as participants in senior men's basketball. We played together in the same team with him and Ned Andrioni and Pete LaPointe and those kinds of people. And so Gary, being an English person and has also written a number of books, particularly The Hounds of Notre Dame and the Saskatchewan Rough Rider book.
I have that book.
He was a natural for me to get some guidance as to how the book should be laid out. And what I had done when he looked at it, several suggestions he gave me certainly changed how I laid out the whole book, and hopefully turned out better than what I had to start with.
Yeah, well, he's certainly a good mentor for you to have, and it's always nice to have a friend who can do that. Right. So the book is called Out of Bounds, A Century of Golf in Moose Jaw. And it's available, I imagine, in the community.
Yes, it's available at both golf courses right now, or by calling myself at home. I hope to have it downtown in one or two of the community bookstores. I haven't got it there yet. Trying to get through all these interviews and stuff first to get it done.
Get everybody wanting it, and then they'll be banging down the doors. Well, haven't you got the book yet?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Ken, that's a great success, and I appreciate your tenacity in searching that out, and also the fact that you've had great success in your own career. And I think that's in all the athletics that you involved with, you've always had success because of the hard work and dedication to it. So congratulations on this too.
Well, thank you very much, and I just want to get a plug in for our 100th anniversary. We'll have a number of things. We have the Saskatchewan Junior Boys and Girls Championship here in July, I believe at the 8th to the 11th, and we'll be looking for support from the community to help us celebrate our 100th anniversary. That's
great, Ken. Well, I'll just step back here, and you drive another couple of balls into that and show that mid-season form.
Okay, thank you. It better be mid-season. I'm heading south for a golf holiday in a week.
Okay. So, this is Ken Bradley at the tee. Quiet, please. Clap, 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 clap. Thanks very much, Ken, and we'll be back talking to our Member of Parliament right after this. So don't go away.